Hey guys, and welcome to the Mount Sharax 20-man raid guide. The second boss is Ginoskoth. This boss has one phase. This boss is mainly about interrupting his two casts and making the DPS check. We use the following raid setup: 1 or 2 tanks, 2 Chloromancers, 1 Liberator, 1 Bard or Oracle, a Beastmaster, an Archon and a Defiler. Depending on how geared your raid is, you can also solo tank this boss. More to this later. Here are the different mechanics of the fight. He will cast an ability called Frost Bulwark. This needs to be interrupted. If you fail to interrupt this, it will do massive AoE damage on the raid, and it will also buff the boss, giving him a shield and making everyone get faster stacks of Bone Shield. So if you fail this interrupt, it's pretty much a wipe. Here's another cast called Iced. This needs to be interrupted. If you fail to interrupt this, the tank will be one-shotted. The boss himself has a buff called Chilling Breeze. This will make the whole room a damage area, and the only safe spot is the cone that he has in front of him. Every 15 seconds he will apply a stacking debuff on the raid called Bone Chill. This does about 3k damage per stack each second. There are 2 ways to dispel Bone Chill. The first is to step in one of the orange AoEs that will spawn randomly around the room. The second is to kill one of the orange crystals that will spawn called Ice Sculpture. When you kill the Ice Sculpture, it will AoE dispel your whole raid. The orange crystal that I just mentioned will be spawning after 15 seconds into the fight and every 45 seconds after that. If the crystal reaches the boss, it will buff him with Frost Bulwark. If it hits a player, it will freeze him and explode after 15 seconds, killing the frozen player and dealing AoE damage around it. So the way to deal with the crystal is one of the player will have to run on top of it to intercept it. Depending on your strategy, you will either DPS the crystal or resurrect the player after his death. He will debuff a random player with Living Ice. After 5 seconds, this buff will drop a high damage AoE on the floor. So the person who gets the debuff just needs to run far away from the raid and place the AoE at the back on the edge of the safe zone. Try your best to put the AoEs on the edge of the safe zone, like on this picture. If a player dies while running with Living Ice, the AoE will drop on the ground where he died, but it will be invisible, so keep that in mind. The 2 closest persons to the boss will never get Living Ice. So whatever you do, stay behind your tank at all times, because you really don't want to have the tank getting this debuff. And finally, the boss will apply a debuff on the tank called Sapping Cold. This will cause every single target heal casted on the tank to also heal the boss for a very high amount. So when the tank gets this debuff, you can either tank swap if you're using the 2 tank strategy, or if you only use 1 tank, just use AoE heals to keep him alive. The damage on the tank isn't really high, and that shouldn't be a problem. If the tank's HP drop too low, he can still pop a shield or use damage reduction cooldowns. So that's all there is to this fight. Let's go exploit this guy. So pull the boss and try to tank him in the middle of the room, and have everyone stack behind your tank. You can see this cone in front of him. This is the safe zone, everything else outside is bad. This emote you see is the Living Ice debuff. Please remember to place the AoE on the edge of the safe zone, not in the middle of it. He's now casting Iced. You need to interrupt that, that's the one shot on the tank. After the first AoE is dropped, you are 15 seconds into the fight and the first crystal will spawn. In our strategy, we are sacrificing a player to intercept it on the first crystal. The second crystal will be killed, the third one will be sacrificed, and so on. He's now casting the Frost Bulwark, you need to interrupt that. Remember, even if you are using another strategy where you are not killing the crystals, you will still need 1 player to intercept the crystals, and you will need to battle res him afterwards. We are now 30 seconds into the fight. If you look at my debuffs, you can see he's now applying a second stack of Bone Chill. Again, this applies every 15 seconds. We are now at the 1 minute mark. The second crystal will now spawn and we will kill it to cleanse ourselves. At this point the Bone Chill is really hurting and you need to push the AoE healing. Try to intercept the crystal as close as you can to the raid, so people don't have to move much to DPS it. And it also helps the healers when everyone is nicely stacked up. As you can see, when the crystal dies, all the Bone Chill stacks have been dispelled. The tank will also have to keep an eye out on the AoEs at the back. I am now moving the boss to the left, so we have more room to place the Living Ice AoEs. Before you move the boss, make sure that everyone is close to it. Then you can start turning it slowly to the side you announced. Don't rush the moving, it's better to move slow and steady than rushing it and having people die. We are now at 1 minute 45, here's the third crystal, we intercept it and ignore it. I will speed this up a bit since we saw all the mechanics already. There's another strategy where you ignore the crystals, you just sacrifice players and battle res them. You will however need to run to the orange AoEs that spawn around the room to cleanse your raid. This is the only way we ever killed it, so I can't really say anything about that other strategy. 2:30, the fourth crystal is spawning, we intercept it and kill it. .315, the fifth crystal is now spawning, etc, etc. This is really all there is to this fight. Depending on the DPS, you might have to kill 1 or 2 more crystals, but once you have a few good attempts at this fight, it's not really hard anymore. And that's it guys, good luck on your kill! I will add the Ka Rule alerts that I have for this fight in the video info, so make sure you check that out. Please smash that like button if you enjoyed this video, and make sure you subscribe for future uploads. And as always guys, thanks for watching!